positive for COVID-19 in early April. We didn't know what that meant for our family. We were nervous from this mysterious virus. So he set up shop here in this basement to make sure that critical city operations, making sure that our contact tracing program, the protective equipment they needed to get their job done while staying safe, where we had to ramp up and figure out how we roll out COVID-19 testing for our residents here in the city of Paterson, how we care for our most vulnerable communities, namely our senior citizens and our homeless, and making sure that we were navigating federal and state resources so that Paterson does not get left behind during this pandemic. This was our bunker. It was providing live Facebook updates, social media updates to the residents to make sure you understood what was going on. And the personal updates, because so many people just wanted to wrap their hands around this mysterious virus. What could they expect? What do the symptoms look like? What does it mean to be asymptomatic? What are some of those risks? What are things we can do? What are the controllables? So he was making sure he got steps on his Fitbit. You saw our treadmill. Eating healthy, taking vitamin supplements, hydrating, and just really encouraging Patersonians to do whatever they can to boost their immune system. My husband ultimately beat COVID-19 14 days later, and we are confident that Paterson will also beat this virus. So, you were in my basement. You saw the bunker where everything was taking place for 2 weeks in April. Well, that bunker still operates because this city is a city that needs TLC 24/7. My husband was born and raised here in the city of Paterson. He wants nothing more than to see this city progress and to see this city thrive for our children and for your children. So there are many other critical operations that are taking place. And this State of the City address is just a sample of everything that's been taking place. It has been a really difficult 12 months. Despite the pandemic, there were other issues that we had to take care of. And I have to say that this State of the City is one in which we're looking to build your confidence, and more importantly, we want to build community. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you my husband, your mayor of New Jersey's third largest city, Paterson, New Jersey, Sayegh.
On November 16th, 2019, I announced that Paterson received a $95,000 grant from the New Jersey State Department of Health. This grant was to help us combat any outbreak, whether it was foodborne, meningitis, anything we've encountered in the past. Little did we know that in March, we'd be confronting a deadly virus. The pandemic has exacted a heavy toll on Paterson. And sadly, as I reflect on who we've lost, we've made it a point, by way of these white bows, to pay respect to the 443 Patersonians we lost. In memoriam, we extend our condolences to all the families who lost someone during this pandemic. In my office, we've lost Ed Cotton. We've also lost an educator, principal at Eastside High School, Dr. Gerald Glisson. And we lost a Paterson police officer, Frank Scorpo. So we have been hit hard by this coronavirus, but yet Paterson perseveres through the pandemic. On March 13th, 2020, I issued my first executive order, which was followed by my next executive order on March 16th, 2020. And this specific order was to shut down all non-essential businesses, including liquor stores. I had to take swift and decisive action to protect Patersonians. And we didn't stop there, because we wanted to focus on those who were the most vulnerable. So our senior citizens, those that needed food, we collaborated with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey and the United Way to provide over 3,000 senior citizens with meals on a weekly basis. Fresh produce and protein delivered to the homes of over 3,000 senior citizens. Also, we worked with participating supermarkets to create special hours so that seniors can go shop to avoid crowds. And for those seniors that were reluctant to go shopping, leave their homes, we initiated a program, volunteer-based, called Neighbor Express. We have volunteers who will cooperate with senior citizens. For example, a senior will call a supermarket, order his or her groceries. That volunteer will go to that supermarket and pick up those groceries and deliver them to those senior citizens, the Neighbor Express. We also created a program where we would have wellness checks just to follow up on how senior citizens were doing mentally and physically. So we wanted to focus on our seniors. We also want to make sure that our schools were supported as well. So through the CARES Act money we received from the federal government, thanks to Congressman Bill Pascrell, Senator Booker, Senator Menendez, we worked with our partners in the county to make sure that $3.8 million of a CARES Act allocation would go to the school district so that when they decide to reopen, they do it safely. And that money went towards personal protection equipment for students, foggers, disinfectants at schools, thermal cameras at schools, and also at the central office on 90 Delaware. We purchased 600 Chromebooks and 400 Promethean boards for the school district as well. Paterson persevered through the pandemic. We were also featured twice for our efforts in the New York Times. First, our fire department, led by our valiant fire chief, Brian McDermott. In January, he had the foresight to order an ample supply of PPE. So much so that we had enough for our police and fire, our first responders, and because we had so much in stock, we were able to donate the balance to St. Joseph's Hospital, which really needed it at that critical period between March and April. And so I want to commend our fire chief, Brian McDermott. Then we were recognized for our contact tracing efforts. Our Prescient Public Health Officer, Dr. Paul Prasad, who encouraged me the year prior to apply for the grant, to help us build out that strike team, to help us build out what would become the contact tracing team. So we became nationally recognized for being a leader in contact tracing. In fact, in that New York Times article, the headline states that other municipalities around the country can learn something from this city in New Jersey as far as contact tracing is concerned. So it didn't end with contact tracing because we knew what we needed to do. We needed to put COVID-19 inside of a box. It starts with testing. So what we launched was testing on demand. We had a mobile unit 6 days a week in each of the wards every day. So the mobile unit during the day and at night, accommodating residents, making it more convenient so they can get tested, and if individuals were infected, we isolate them, and then that'll activate the contact tracing operation. Now, we're focused also on our vaccination operation. Paterson was one of the first municipalities in the state to receive the Moderna vaccine, and we started by administering it to healthcare workers who are in Category 1A and our EMS personnel. Now we've expanded our operation, police, fire, and most recently, senior citizens, 65 and older, and also another special category, ages 16 to 64 individuals with underlying health conditions. We're determined to defeat this virus. As you can see, we don't want to put any more white bows up here at City Hall. That's why we continue to persevere through the pandemic. Proud of the action that we took early on, swift, decisive, closing essential businesses down, not essential businesses down, closing down parks, discouraging people from congregant activities, being featured, noted for ordering enough personal protection equipment, not only for our police and fire, but also for St. Joseph's Hospital. Being acknowledged for the fact that we were doing the contact tracing, something that we could date back to November 16, 2019 when we announced this small grant, which we would have never known would have led to something as significant as the contact tracing initiative to help suppress the spread. And we did crush the curve, and we'll crush it again, because Paterson is determined, as I stated before, to defeat this virus. So we're proud of the action we took to protect our senior citizens and to ensure their safety. We're proud of the fact that we're supporting our schools, and we thank our county partners for being a part of that collaboration. We're proud of the fact that we offer widespread testing in every section of this city. And now as we move into the next phase, we see that light at the end of the tunnel. We're proud of the fact that we vaccinated already 2,000 people. And I want to assure people that it is safe, and when it is my time to get inoculated, I will do so publicly, just to assuage any concerns people had. But again, we would have never anticipated on November 16, 2019, that we'd be dealing with something known as COVID-19. But in spite of it all, Paterson has persevered through the pandemic.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Slavin, President and CEO of St. Joseph's Health. I'd like to start by saying it's a great honor and privilege to participate in Mayor Sayegh's 2020 State of the City address. Who could have predicted the year we had in 2020? Once this pandemic began, Mayor Sayegh and I called and texted each other so often, I had to add him to my friends and family plan. While the relationship between the city of Paterson and St. Joseph's goes back to our founding 153 years ago, it's during the most difficult days that true connections are formed. Over the course of this past year, as the coronavirus pandemic took a strong hold throughout New Jersey and Paterson, Mayor Sayegh and I and our St. Joseph's team worked side by side to share information and resources. Together, we opened community testing sites last spring to enhance access for all local residents and expand COVID testing capacity throughout the entire region. I was among the first to volunteer to serve on the Mayor's COVID task force. And you should know that the Mayor immediately jumped in to organize donations of personal protective equipment and meals for our frontline healthcare workers. He would deliver the items personally after having recovered from COVID himself, simply to say thank you and recognize our frontline heroes. Mayor Sayegh and I both recognize that we're both caring for one of the most vulnerable communities in the state. It's only by working together, the way we do, that we can make Paterson a better place to live and work. Mayor, you brought professionalism, integrity, energy, and enthusiasm to Paterson, which has enriched the lives of our entire community. For me personally, and for everyone at St. Joseph's, we can't thank you enough for serving as an ideal partner to move forward together, and we're excited to do that. Thank you.
One of the reasons I attribute to my ability to defeat the COVID-19 when I contracted it earlier last year is the fact that I focused on my health and wellness. And in Paterson, we launched the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, where we had wellness walks from City Hall to the Great Falls, and we had students from School 2 participating, and we had employees who were also eager to be a part of this movement, because quite frankly, Paterson was on the move. Parks are a priority, and they fall in line with the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. One of the first grants that we applied for was to secure money for what's called a 10-minute walk campaign, because in Paterson we believe that every child should have a park within a 10-minute walk from his or her home. And we secured that grant money. And as a result, we created a vision plan for our parks. And what are we doing with our parks? Well, I want to thank the City Council for collaborating with me and sharing my vision to improve our parks. Bear Track Park on 5th Avenue, Councilwoman Elisa Mims spearheaded that effort, and we partnered with her. We made sure that the people, the residents in that Riverside section, got a park that they deserve. And finally, Bear Track Park is something that all of our children can appreciate and enjoy. Also, Brandy's Field over on Marshall and Hazel by Dr. Hanny Aladella School. I want to thank Councilman Al Abdelaziz, Councilman Flavio Rivera for encouraging me to improve that park as well. We invested $1 million, and now children have a brand new park in that area as well. Buckley Field on Chamberlain Avenue, another example of $1 million investment we made and improved park in Paterson. Work is about to start at Lou Costello Park downtown. Now this is something that's significant, because for the first time in this park and the first time in Paterson, you'll have a playground that will accommodate children with autism. And so we're focusing on those who are on the spectrum. We've heard residents who've said we have to go to other towns. Well, you don't have to go to other towns anymore. Lou Costello, arguably one of the most prominent Patersonians, his park, and he would love this if he were alive, will be dedicated to children with special needs as well. So we want to accommodate them. But the Mayor's Wellness Campaign doesn't just stop with those parks. The field house, Bowerly Field, $1 million renovation set to begin as well. And we thought it was only appropriate, since it's in the backyard of Eastside High School, that we rename the field house in honor and in memory of Dr. Gerald Glisson. So we'll be proud to cut the ribbon later this year on the new and improved Dr. Gerald Glisson Fieldhouse, something that our student athletes deserve. And so we will continue to push for our parks, and we'll continue to increase our recreation budget, which we're in the process of doing. And in order to emphasize our significant investment in parks and recreation, we created the Friends of Paterson Parks so that we can apply for even more grant funding through the open space dollars that are available in the county. So for example, last year we applied for the Eastside pedestrian pathways to be improved, and we received that money. Then we applied for the tennis courts at Eastside High School, Eastside Park, to be improved as well, and we are waiting word to receive grant funding. We also want to fix the stairs at Eastside Park. We're awaiting funding, or awaiting word on that funding as well. And then Roberto Clemente Park. Since we're doing it at Lou Costello Park, we want to make sure that at Roberto Clemente Park we have a playground space that can accommodate children with autism as well. Long are the days, they are behind us, that children would have to go to surrounding towns, parents would have to put mileage on their cars or waste money on gas to go to other parks. They should be able to go to parks in Paterson. And in addition to the Friends of Paterson Parks, we created a Parks and Recreation Commission. We'll emphasize the importance, once again, providing first-class fields and world-class parks for our children. And we focused on Putnam Oval, which we plan to rename for Ray Live Senior. We're focused on Commons Field. Commons Field is the home to the little ladies, the young ladies, for softball. We feel like they could use some love as well, so we're going to make $1 million+ investment in Commons Field as well. So, quite frankly, if you haven't gotten what I've been saying for the past few minutes, parks and recreation, a priority of my administration, and we'll continue to invest with grant dollars. In fact, last year alone, we were able to secure $12 million in grants, and public safety was a priority, public health, and public parks, like I've stated, a priority as well. So, parks, top of our agenda, because we know that our youth deserve much better, and that's exactly what we're giving to them.
Hello, I'm Eileen Schaefer, Superintendent of Paterson Public Schools. I want to thank Mayor Andre Sayegh for the chance to speak during his State of the City address. Paterson Public Schools has a great partnership with the mayor and his administration. We partnered with the mayor and the Department of Health for the vaccine at International High School. And we're pleased to tell you that some of our school nurses volunteered to come in and to give the vaccines at International High School. We're looking forward to working with St. Joe's Medical Center to open up another vaccine site at Dr. Hani Aladawa School in the near future. We all know how important it is to work together, especially during this pandemic. One of our other initiatives with the City of Paterson, the City Council, and certainly the Mayor and his staff was the refurbishing of Hinchcliffe Stadium, where our own student athletes, the children of Paterson, will have an opportunity to train and to play games in that stadium that once was a historical event for the City of Paterson, where Eastside High School and John F. Kennedy High School played the Thanksgiving Bowl. So we're looking forward to having our students play and have community events in a venue that is state-of-the-art. We also worked with the city to promote the U.S. Census and had kiosks set up at school sites for community members, parents, and guardians to come and fill out the U.S. Census. We have a great relationship with the Department of Recreation. where our students and the youth of the city of Paterson can come to after-school programs as well as evening programs and Saturday programs for recreation. And we all know how important recreation is for our students, for the whole child, but more importantly, for the mental health of our students. Our student athletes will also have a new state-of-the-art field house at Barley Field. This is another collaboration between the school district, our Board of Education, the City of Paterson, and the City Council. And that new field house at Barley Field will be named after a great icon in the City of Paterson, a dear friend, an exquisite gentleman, and an exceptional educator, Dr. Gerald Glisson. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention something about January 6th, where the New Jersey Board of Education unanimously voted to return local control to the district, to the people of Paterson, and to the city of Paterson. So now, after 30 years, our parents, our guardians, and our community members will have a voice in the education of the Paterson children. That is a huge milestone for the city and for the school district. I want to give a shout out to City Council, but more importantly to our Board of Education members who worked extremely hard to bring local control back to the city of Paterson and to the school district. So thank you for that collaboration. And I want to congratulate Mayor Sayegh for another successful year during your administration. The school district looks forward to continuing our partnership with the Sayegh administration for the benefit of the students and for all the families in the city of Paterson. Thank you.
Also, as a part of our wellness campaign was the fact that we want to focus on lead abatement. We understand that a lot of the housing stock in Paterson is old, and the last thing we need is a repeat of what occurred in Flint, Michigan. Therefore, we've aggressively pursued grant funding, and we're proud that we were able to secure over $3.7 million in funding for lead abatement. In fact, it was so significant that Senator Cory Booker, Senator Bob Menendez, and Congressman Bill Pasquarello came to City Hall to announce that we'd be receiving significant federal funding to make sure that we engage in lead abatement in Paterson, to make sure that we have healthy homes in our city. Public safety is our top priority. To my left is our attempt to improve communications so we can also improve response time whenever a constituent calls. So the command center that will be on Pennsylvania Avenue is going to consolidate police, fire, emergency management, all under one roof, collaborating with one another, sharing information so that we can improve communications and also, like I stated before, decrease response time whenever a constituent calls. So we're proud of the fact that we're making an investment to improve public safety and communications within that category. Also, I talked about increased transparency and accountability. And so for the first time in Paterson, police officers are wearing body cameras, and we're starting this off as a pilot program. 25 police officers over the course of a 90-day trial period will wear these body cameras. If everything goes well, we'll expand that number to 150 police officers wearing body cameras in Paterson. This works both ways as far as accountability is concerned. It holds the police officer accountable and the individual who's interacting with the police officer as well. We're also launching an audit, top to bottom, to see how we can continue to improve on the practices, the procedures, the protocols within the police department. We can see there's always room for improvement, and that's why we launched this audit last year. Now, as far as crime is concerned, the nation has seen a spike in gun violence, and Paterson is no different. Unfortunately, we've seen aggravated assaults increase and murders increase, but that does not deter us. We're not giving in or giving up. The police department seized 200 guns last year. That's significantly more than the prior year, where we seized 141 in 2019. So that gives you somewhat of a frame of reference. There are more guns on the streets, and we're adamant about getting the drugs and the guns off of our streets because they're creating a whole host of problems. But what else are we doing? So this year we're looking to add at least 60 new police officers to bolster our ranks. We're also partnering with Everytown for Gun Safety. It's a national nonprofit organization that deals with reducing gun violence. And as I've stated before, we can't always police all of our problems away, so we're proud to support the Paterson Healing Collective. These are individuals who are part of the community. It's a community-based organization where they actually interface with victims, and they want to prevent the next shooting. They want to reduce gun violence. They want to make sure that there's no re-injury or retaliation. And also, we secured grant funding to hire a victims advocate specialist to help those who are victims of violence navigate the system, because it could be very daunting and discouraging. So you can see that public safety is what drives us as well. But in addition to all of that, we want to make sure that residents know that they can communicate with us also through an app known as Paterson Plus. If it's an emergency, you can dial 911, but if it's police related, we want you to download the Paterson Plus app on your phone to make sure that we document any incident that occurs, to make sure that we better serve you. So again, I can't emphasize it enough. Public safety precedes economic development. If you have a safer city, you have a stronger city. And that's what we're working towards in Paterson. Public safety, our goal, 2021, reduce gun violence, increase our police force, and also enhance accountability and transparency within our police department. As I often say, Paterson is in growth mode, and we are positioning Paterson for progress. Economic development is something we are driving in this city, and it's almost unprecedented how much is occurring. To my right is a rendering of an affordable housing project that should start later this year. In fact, it's a partnership. So St. Joseph's Health, along with New Jersey Community Development Corporation, will be building on Barclay a 56-unit apartment complex. And 10 of those units will be reserved for people with special needs. Because what the hospital is encountering is that homeless individuals are seeking shelter in the emergency room, and they need something more permanent as far as housing is concerned. And so this project, 56 units, 10 will be set aside for people with mental health issues, those with special needs. And that's just one of the affordable housing projects. If you go on 5th Avenue, the Riverside Village is coming along. We're talking about over 160 units, about 80 set aside for seniors, and then the balance set aside for low-income families in Paterson. Hinchcliffe Stadium is going to feature also senior citizen affordable housing, and we're proud that downtown, Van Houten and Mill, we're going to have a senior citizen affordable housing initiative known as Grandparents Raising Grandchildren. And so as you can see, we have 4 affordable housing projects either underway or about to start this year. But beyond the affordable housing, we're going big in Paterson. Hinchcliffe Stadium, the first time in over 2 decades, something that's been fallow for so long, a historic treasure, one of only 2 stadiums still standing that hosted Negro League games and has a grandstand. Hinchcliffe Stadium, we're bringing it back. We are bringing it back. We're using $130 million, well now $150 million in state tax credits, and I want to take the time to thank the Murphy administration because we needed an additional allocation. We received $130 million originally of tax credits, and now the Murphy administration believes in Paterson, puts their faith in Paterson, now puts some more money in Paterson. We've never seen an investment like this from the state. And yes, Governor Murphy has often said, as goes Paterson, so goes the state. So he gave us an additional $20 million in state tax credits so we can finally restore Hinchcliffe Stadium. It's long overdue. Our youth deserve it. But more importantly, the city deserves it as well. It'll improve the neighborhood, the quality of life, and it won't be an eyesore anymore. Think about this. Students at School 5 look outside the window behind their school and they see a decrepit stadium in decline, which symbolizes somewhat where the city has been. But I believe the city is going places, and Hinchcliffe Stadium, by restoring that, you'll see that School 5 students can look outside and say, wow, that's a first-class stadium paying tribute to African Americans who played on that field when they were excluded from playing in Major League Baseball. And that'll also feature a restaurant and exhibit to pay honor to those who played on that field in the Negro Leagues. We'll also have the affordable housing complex. That component will be a part of it as well. And a daycare center for our youth and working class families so they can have their children be safe in an environment where they can also develop. Speaking of which, not too far from Hinchliffe Stadium, the Great Falls National Park. Our goal is to turn that into a top-notch tourist attraction. That's why we're earmarking roughly $50 million in state tax credits to develop a first-class visitor center named for the founder of Paterson, Alexander Hamilton. And the lead developer is DevCo, Chris Palladino, one of the most respected and reputable real estate developers in the state. He's done wonders in New Brunswick, he's done work in Atlantic City and Newark, and now he's coming to Paterson to help build that visitor center. We're also focused on downtown development in the Ward Street garage. We're hoping that we'll knock the garage down, build a new one, and then shift it enough so we can leave some room for a mixed-use project so we can leverage our train station and potentially attract millennials to Paterson or Gen Zers. This is something that we're focused on, fiercely focused on. The Armory, we broke ground on that and work should be starting relatively soon. And quite frankly, when speaking to our public officer, or should I say our planning and zoning officer, Michael Deutsch, he said in his 18 years here, he's never seen this level of economic activity. Planning board, board of adjustment, they're backlogged. So many people are looking to start projects in Paterson that it's creating that delay, hoping that they can get a special meeting going so they can get their project approved and we can keep it going.
Hello, my name is Sayegh Adolfo Wilson, and I am a JV development partner for Hinchliffe Stadium. And also, and probably more importantly, I am a Patersonian. I'm a product of School 26 as well as Tech. I'm here to let you know that after 23 years, Hinchliffe Stadium is on the verge of being restored. We're about 30-40 days from starting construction on the stadium. It will be a restoration of the stadium for football, track and field, soccer, baseball, softball, lacrosse. There will be 75 senior affordable housing units, a parking structure for 350 parking spaces, as well as a restaurant and exhibition space dedicated to the Negro League. It is an incredible project, and really without the leadership of the current administration, the city council, the school district, this project wouldn't be coming to fruition. What we've done has not been without its challenges, but what I've noticed in this team has been a level of resolve, capacity, and drive to really do the best for the residents. And it's something that on the development side is really good to see. I'm excited about what's happening in Paterson. I think that Paterson has great days ahead of it, and I think that what's most inspiring about it is the level of commitment that I see from everyone. And without that, I don't know what will happen.
We're focused on enhancing the appeal of the Great Falls and making it more of an economic draw. Well, we've also secured grant funding to renovate Paterson's highest point, the Vistas Park. It's a breathtaking view of the city, panoramic view. So when we're done, again, we're going to give Patersonians a first-class state park. We also have the Quarry Lawn project that we announced, which would essentially create a river walk in that area. And finally, the ATP fence, which was problematic and led to what people call heroin heaven, has been fixed, and we didn't have to pay for it. It's $500,000 that the city saves, and hopefully it can save lives and save us an eyesore. So, with economic development, our thrust has to make sure that we grow our rateable base. And we've done that since we've taken office. Speaking of growing our rateable base, let's think about job creation and tax revenue. So we were one of only 2 municipalities in North Jersey to receive a license for medical marijuana. The company, GTI, Green Thumbs Industry, opened up a dispensary where A vast majority of their employees at that medical marijuana dispensary are Patersonians. And in working with the city council, on top of what revenue we collect from this dispensary, we have a medical marijuana transfer tax of 2%. So that's additional revenue coming in to Paterson, which would offset any issues we might have as far as budgetary constraints are concerned. Speaking of the budget, we did create a surplus, something that I've been advocating for so long as a councilman, reverting to a calendar year. And with the assistance of the city council, we did. And now Paterson doesn't operate on that fiscal year anymore. It's a calendar year, and it created a surplus for us, a little bit of budgetary breathing room. Also, another new source of revenue. The settlement with St. Joe's Hospital. They're going to be giving us a community contribution. So over the course of 5 years, we're going to get over $1 million annually. So about $6 million we didn't have over the course of 5 years. So quite frankly, what we're trying to do is generate more revenue. And we're doing it. We're putting the shovels in the ground. We're making sure we make that investment in our city. Because we've seen it happen in Hoboken, we've seen it happen in Jersey City. Paterson was just waiting to happen. We're making it happen in Paterson.
So, for the first time, the City of Paterson is opening a financial empowerment center with trained counselors for free financial counseling for all of you in the City of Paterson. So if you want to purchase a home, open a business, save for college tuition, or increase your credit score, we'll have trained financial advisors ready to create a plan so that you can reach your financial goals.
2020 was an unprecedented and unpredictable year. It was marked by tragedy, turmoil, and trauma. And through it all, Paterson continues to persevere through the pandemic. We'll still focus on our priorities with public safety, economic development, quality of life. And we know that people have struggled financially. And that's why we're launching initiatives such as the Financial Empowerment Center, where we can provide free one-on-one financial counseling for Patersonians in need. If they need their credit score repaired, their debt reduced, or to establish a bank account, our Financial Empowerment Center can provide that assistance. Also, I'm proud to be a part of the Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. Only 30 municipalities in the country are doing this. And what it will provide is for 70 families in Paterson, income-based, of course, with a stipend, with some level of income every month. And our goal is to get $500 in cash assistance on a monthly basis to Paterson families in need. I want to thank the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, who has contributed $500,000 to that effort. And with that $500,000, we can help roughly 70 families with some level of income. We're also launching, in addition to the Financial Empowerment Center and the Mayors for a Guaranteed Income Initiative, a license restoration program. We understand that an impediment to employment is not having a driver's license. And quite frankly, our folks in Paterson could use the employment and have their licenses restored. So, as a part of that trifecta, to assist Patersonians who have been struggling even prior to the pandemic, but now more so because of COVID-19 and this crisis. The Mayors for Guaranteed Income, the Financial Empowerment Center, and the License Restoration Program Initiative, we hope will help. And that's what we're here to do. But since we have not yet conquered COVID-19, all of our efforts, we focused on making sure that we not only crush the curve, but we put an end to this pandemic. So we will continue to test, we will continue to trace, and we will enhance our efforts to vaccinate as many people as possible. Because our ultimate objective, as Paterson continues to persevere through the pandemic, is to beat COVID. This mask says it all. Paterson, beat COVID.